Distinguished guests, graduands, their families and their friends, Bond University colleagues, welcome to this ceremony this afternoon for the conferring of degrees in the Faculty of Health Sciences and Medicine and in the Faculty of Society and Design. It's my pleasure now to introduce Bond University's Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Tim Brailsford.
Good afternoon, everyone. What wonderful occasions graduation ceremonies are. They represent the culmination of many years of hard work, of dedication, of long hours, of assessment, and most of all, and most importantly, of learning. So as we move through today's ceremony, there will be an opportunity to recognise each and every graduate who comes up across the stage. But I trust you take the time to really enjoy the moment and to celebrate what in each individual's way has been an absolutely wonderful achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to commence by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet here today. They are the people of the Yugambeh language, and I pay my respects to their elders past and present. I do so on your behalf and in the spirit of reconciliation. I welcome you all to Bond University. I acknowledge the presence of the university's 8th Chancellor, the Honourable Dr. Annabelle Bennett, AOSC, and the Chancellor will preside over today's ceremonies. Dr. David Bennett, ACQC, our occasional speaker, who I'll introduce more formally in just a moment, Professor Michael Kenniger. Our distinguished guests, proud parents, family members, those of you who are watching over the internet, my fellow colleagues here at Bond University seated behind me, but most importantly, today's graduands. I particularly welcome those of you that have travelled far to be with us. I appreciate that many of you, given the diversity of Bond's student community, will have travelled considerable distance, in some cases several thousand kilometres, and in some cases indeed from overseas. And as you look around this room here, you will see the flags of all the countries from which our Bond graduates have originated. So we have always been international. And you look around there and try and pick out a flag that is missing. I think we now have graduates from over 100 countries around the world, and that's a fact that we're particularly proud of. In a world which appears to be becoming less global in its vision, in a world which appears to be becoming more insular and more nationalistic, we are proud here to have always been international in our aspiration and international in our reach. You each have a copy of today's program on your seat, and I ask you to follow those proceedings. I trust that you enjoy the ceremony, and I trust that everyone takes the time not just to acknowledge your loved one as she or he walks across the stage for that magical moment, but you appreciate all of the students as they individually cross the stage. To our graduands, I look forward to seeing your beaming faces and seeing you stand up here nervously thinking about, am I going to be the one that trips over today? It's now my great pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker. Professor Michael Kenniger graduated from the Architectural Association School of Architecture in London and became engaged with several award-winning architectural firms in the English capital prior to migrating to Australia. He commenced an academic position at the University of Queensland in 1978, and his principal research focused on architecture and urban change before examining the nature of contemporary architecture in Australia. For instance, one of his early research studies for the Department of Health led to guidelines, or the establishment of guidelines, for the creation of shade for protection from skin cancer in subtropical climates. Professor Kenniger went on to enjoy a long and distinguished career as a senior academic and academic administrator. At the University of Queensland, he was ultimately appointed to the role Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor in 2009. Along the way, he had also been the university's Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic, and prior to that position, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Physical Sciences and Architecture, Head of the Department of Architecture, and Head of the School of Geography, Planning and Architecture. On Professor Kenniger's retirement from UQ in 2011, the official university biography credits with him making a, quote, major contribution to the shaping of the accreditation policy and educational standards for the profession. Professor Kenniger was Queensland Architect of the Year in 1998 and held the advisory position of Queensland Government Architect for almost a decade from 1999 to 2006. He was also appointed the inaugural Chairman of Brisbane's Urban Futures Board and Urban Land Development Authority Board member, and is a past Queensland President of the Royal Australian Institute of Architects. For his work, he was awarded the National President's Prize at the Australian Institute of Architects 2017 National Conference. In its citation for that award, the jury praised Professor Kenniger for forging a unique and enduring design culture in the architecture school based on regionalism and specific interpretation of place. But the citation also lauded the astounding breadth of his work, noting in particular his influence on the design quality of major urban and public projects in Queensland. Some of you will best recognise his work when you spend some time in Brisbane and you look at the overall redesign of that magnificent complex now known as the South Bank Precinct. So here is the man who had such a major say in the way in which that precinct has been shaped. Recently, we've been fortunate at Bond University in that Professor Kenniger has decided to join us, and he has been appointed to a professorship in the Obedience School of Architecture. We've appointed him principally to work with our master students and to provide some much heralded mentoring. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in welcoming Professor Kenniger to give the occasional address.
Chancellor, Yon Dr. Annabel Bennett, AOSC, Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Tim Brailsford, distinguished guests, one and all, and graduates most importantly. I thank you, the Vice-Chancellor, for his fulsome introduction, and I must say I'm glad I came, so thank you for that, and for inviting me to deliver this address, which I consider to be an extraordinary honour. So I deeply appreciate being here this afternoon. My address is given to you, in particular the graduates here today, to mark your progress from the university with your well-deserved degrees and qualifications. I am fully conscious that I am the final and almost the only obstacle to your receiving your degrees and diplomas and an end to proceeding to the celebrations that will follow, and I aim to keep what I have to say both short and to the point. I congratulate you on your success in completing your studies here and commend you for electing to study at Bond University, which has an outstanding reputation for the quality of its teaching and for its commitment to the preparation it provides its students for their future roles in the wider community. As a long-standing educator, I'm well aware of the many hours of concentrated effort you will have undertaken over the course of your studies, and I can imagine there was some fun too in between times. But for most, your success in completing your degrees would not have been possible without the support and encouragement of your parents, family and friends, many of whom are here, as the Vice-Chancellor said, have come a long way to be here to provide the support and encouragement to celebrate with you today and to witness this rite of passage. And I personally acknowledge and welcome them all. For many, this graduation marks an exciting point in your life's journey, and offers a timely pause to take stock and reflect on the future as you plan your next steps. And that's extremely hard to do, because I can imagine for many of you, you're focused on achieving and getting to this point. And then there's a kind of deep sigh, and what does the future mean? And how can I actually make best effect from the studies that I've done? So aside from your justified sense of achievement, you exit the university with a command of the skills and knowledge you needed to take you forward in your chosen disciplines and professions. Yet alongside this sense of readiness, there may also be some trepidation about what you will face as your career takes shape. Unquestionably, this is a time of extraordinary change, and there can be no doubt that you will face challenges and occasional setbacks as you move ahead. It is now a firm reality that as you advance, you will need to keep pace with the impacts of ongoing discovery and development. And that's true for all the disciplines here. And I must say, in particular for those in the fields of health and medicine, where there are such rapid advances that I think within the next 5 years alone, let alone within your career, will spin out to completely transform the relationship of health, medicine, and the medical needs of people, medical care. You should be confident in your ability to face up to the pace of change, because your education here has provided you for such volatility. Crucially, you have learnt how to learn, and I know that's a cliche, people recite it, but actually you have learnt how to learn. And I've been so impressed by the students I've worked, in the short time I've been here, I've worked with at Bond, in their capacity to focus and to get on with the job, which has been terrific. You understand how and where to seek further educational input to enhance and update your skills and knowledge in response to the evolving demands and to change circumstance, and things will change. Further, you can imagine, and that's a remarkable thing, and appreciate the value of supporting and encouraging others to similarly advance their knowledge and skills, and so leveraging from the education you have received. There is a wider bonus for other people. You can show them how to go about things. Inescapably, there will be moments of self-questioning and self-doubt. How you respond to the opportunities and challenges that arise will determine the highs and lows of your career, and indeed may reshape your career entirely. In preparing for this address, I thought it might help to illustrate the effect of such incremental choices by revealing the reasoning and motivation behind some of the key choices that I made in my career as an architect, and as my career as an architect and academic took shape. And then thinking about it on the way, I thought, well, that's not going to make much sense for most of you unless you understand a bit about architecture and so on. But I think understanding that there's no straight line, there is no certainty, there's no clear pattern. So I thought I'd open up by saying, why on earth become an architect? Because it's possibly not the most effective profession to be in at some times. But I must say I grew up in East London. I came from a relatively modest background. There was no sense of privilege. And I'd never met an architect. I'd never discussed architecture with anyone. I didn't know that there was actually a profession and a career. But I was taken aside by a teacher whose dedication, I think, went way beyond what it needed to. I suspect he wanted to be an architect. He taught visual arts at the school I went to. And he said, well, look, you just have to do something creative. You have to be doing this, but you're going to make no money as an artist. Michael, no money at all. So I was persuaded to look at architecture, and he introduced me. He said, if you're going to study at all, as you have done, you must choose the institution that will serve you the best. And so I was introduced to the Architectural Association. He helped prepare the way. I was accepted. And in a way, I think his interest was because it was seen to be an avant-garde and anti-establishment place to go. It's quite small, quite independent, and a bit like Bond, self-sustaining. It had to live on its wits. And it was a fantastic place to study. I really look back to those times, as you will look back to your times here, as the most formative shaping of my interests in life. I suppose that's the best way to put it. Fittingly, the person who taught me there, and that I best remember, was the leader of the program at the time, was a firebrand architect, absolute barnstorming kind of character, Peter Cook, now a very proper gentleman, Sir Peter Cook, who, as it happens, led the design team that provided the design concept for the Aberdeen School of Architecture building. And for those of you that have been through the building, you might have had tutorials there and so on. It is a wonderful place to work and to study, particularly to study in a studio setting. So there's been a kind of unexpected closing of the circle. Without a grand plan or even a mud map for my career, I loosely envisaged that I would do the normal thing and work my way up through a practice and make one or two interesting buildings, and that would be it, done and dusted. But that was not to be. My career developed in unexpected and unpredicted ways. I could not have written the script. I never, ever imagined I would be an academic, and it was not on my radar whatsoever. And that starting when I worked with some award-winning firms, then I started a small sole practice, and that was a bit lonely, when you're trying to drive. People talk about in entrepreneurial hotspots, but when you're doing it by yourself, it's a bit lonely. So I was accepted a chance invitation to teach architecture part-time. I really enjoyed teaching. I enjoyed working with the students. I enjoyed helping them understand that whatever idea they had half-formed could work to help other people as they answered their needs. During a downturn in practice, I met another important and crucial mentor, a man called David Rock, who had a different kind of practice. And he said, look, it's all very well thinking you're the supreme designer, but in fact what I would like is for you to help me by working between my office and the client's team, which was a major university trying to reorganize, actually bring 3 separate institutions to make one new institution. And essentially I was asked to work between the two and interpret the client's demands for the architects and reveal to the client what the architect meant when they used archi speak. If you've ever had a cocktail conversation with an architect, or received a design presentation, they use a special vernacular language of their own. But I was pretty good at interpreting between the two and writing the functional briefs and getting things moving and so on. And I really enjoyed that. So I had these two then things which shaped my career. As was said by the Vice-Chancellor, I came here in 1978. The UK's economy is absolutely dismal in the mid-70s, and I came here on a 3-year contract. It was a big risk. I had no idea what Brisbane was like. I didn't even know, to be frank, that it had a river. And so I had a lot to learn when I arrived. But it was one of the best things I did. I've never regretted it. And I was able to see a way. I understood that by taking up an academic position, I was actually surrendering the opportunity to continue in professional practice. And that I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I really do like teaching, I do like doing the research, is there a way that I can leverage from the independence of an academic position to help shape ideas and thinking and quality in the public realm? Because some things were being done at that time that were not particularly good. So, and that's what I did. I had this extraordinary binary combination of the two worlds, which I was able to weave together. But nobody told me that was possible. There was nowhere written, there was no instructions. You just had to work it out as you went. I am at an age and a stage of life now where I can appreciate that the most sustaining rewards that have come through my life have come from the success of others around me. I've thoroughly enjoyed the achievements of my students and former students as they graduated and went on to become and advance as leading architects, designers and policymakers, and in contributing to society. And I have vicariously enjoyed the pleasure of the community's ready acceptance of most of the major projects with which I've been involved. In particular, and I will say this, and the Chancellor whispered in my ear before I just stood up, South Bank, I just think, is a remarkable thing to have had an association with. And what my role was really to help broaden the understanding of what was possible there and introduce the board at South Bank to what people who I thought would be fine architects to work with to liven the place up and create a genuine place, a heart for the city. And that has worked, I think, extremely well, in that the parklands have been sustained, and new urban infrastructure was put in place, some new infrastructure that was blocking things was demolished. Very brave decision by government of the day. And yet my role was not as the designer, but as building the patterns and the networks and the connections and giving confidence to the people involved that there will be a great outcome. And that seemed to work. An architectural colleague from Germany, when he realised the nature of my involvement with that project and others, he had visited, said, and I won't do my German accent, it's not very good, he said, "Michael, now I understand, you design by telephone." And I thought that was a very fitting observation. None of this did I envisage at the start of my career, and all emerged from responding to the advice and encouragement of friends and mentors. Throughout it all, I don't think I've stopped learning. I've continued to learn, not just by formal study, but from my students, from their insights, from my colleagues in particular. To my surprise, and it was an absolute surprise, the most intense and most enjoyable reinvigoration of my further learning came in the later stages of my career when propelled into the role of the Executive Dean of Engineering and Companion Disciplines. The engineers masked their embarrassment in having an architect as their dean by giving me an accelerated introduction to the myriad branches of their discipline and subdisciplines. I was inducted into the mysteries and budget needs, I might say, of nanotechnology, of bioengineering, of hypersonic scramjets, and the like. I was given tours to this and that, including a host of hydraulic flumes. I never thought that hydraulic flumes would be fascinating, and I still don't, but I saw a lot of them. And a host of wind tunnels, including the what I'm told is iconic, and people use iconic in strange ways, but the iconic T4 hypersonic wind tunnel and the like. I was particularly curious. I was very nervous about becoming the Dean of Engineering because to be frank, I didn't understand what they did and why they did and how they did it. But I was good at picking up the clues that they gave me. But I was very curious about the grinding noise below my office. And so there I moved buildings, I moved into the Hawken building, and there was this continuing gravelly sound of something happening below. So I went for a stroll, and I went down to meet this man, and this is Dr. Morgan. And there was a somewhat mysterious research project going on with this machine continually revolving in the middle of the room. And I asked Richard what was going on, and he said, Michael, I'm involved in the Mars project. We're going to send a prototype rocket to Mars. And I said, well, what's going on here? And he said, well, what we're doing, these are the rocket casings in segments, and we're winding into the rocket casing this thixotropic gel, a kind of jelly, that we're winding it into the casing, and this will be the fuel, if you like, for the rocket, and we have to do this in sections. And I said, thixotropic, something clicked in my brain. I thought, well, thixotropic, that's a jelly. I said, is there any problem with this? Is there any problem? And he said, no, there's no problem whatsoever. I said, well, are you sure there's no problem? He said, well, the only problem will be if we stop winding, then it becomes very unstable. And I said, do you mean if there's a power cut? Or he said, that would be very bad. I said, well, okay, the rocket might be going to Mars, but you're going to Pinjarra Hills on the very fringe of Brisbane, and out he went and took his rocket with him. But that was enough for him. But that, I think, was one of the most instrumental things I managed to achieve at the University of Queensland. I will stop at that point because I think it's much more important that we proceed this afternoon. I very much hope and trust that for each of you, your journey ahead will be as equally rewarding as mine, and that you progress, as you progress, you will be positioned to give back to the wider community some of the benefits of the education you've received from your time here at university. On other occasions, I have stated that the true success and standing of a first-rate university is derived from the quality of its staff, from the calibre of the students it attracts, and crucially, from the quality and accomplishments of its graduates. As you go forward, you can be sure that the university will honour your trust in its enduring quality by continuing to advance its standards and standing. In return, I am sure the university will be strengthened by your remaining in contact, by the advice and contributions you may offer from your experience, and by relaying back the impact of your achievements in your discipline and in the wider world. When concluding an address such as this, it is relatively common to employ a reference to the inspirational cry of Carpe Diem, seize the day, and you would be familiar with that. My challenge to you is to be more ambitious, and so not to be content with responding just to the present. I encourage and indeed urge you instead to strive for Carpe Futuris, that is, to seize the future, shape the future, construct the future, and whenever and however possible, to lead the future. I wish you well. Thank you.
Well, before I thank Michael and move on to just a couple of things to say, I thought before I started, I did notice that there are some broader family members here today, not only parents and grandparents and husbands and wives and partners, but also some children. We welcome the children here. We think it's wonderful they're here. We're prepared to run a special program later for them as future bondies. And we only want them to feel really comfortable. So if any child around you makes a sound or squirms, please be a little bit tolerant of it, because they are children and it's a hard thing for them. So we welcome them here. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here, you young ones, even if you don't understand what I'm saying. But we don't want you to feel that you need to take a child outside and miss the moment of your loved one graduating. But the other thing I want to do on your behalf is to thank Michael for that address. You know, this is a milestone, and as milestones go in your life, you tend to remember certain things about it. And I think hearing someone speak of, in this case, his own experiences, and drawing upon those to try and convey a message to you, I think is really rewarding. And I think he said some things that are really, really valuable. I mean, everything. I'm not going to repeat it because there were so many thoughts in there. But what I thought that was really a big message was he pointed out that, you know, we can all have fears in times of change. I think, speaking for myself, I've discovered that I'm always the only person who thinks that I have self-doubt. I'm the only one who knows that I don't know what I'm doing. And I think everyone else does know, and of course that's not right. Everyone goes through periods of self-doubt, and I think that what you've got to do is just knuckle under and keep going, and I think that that's really important. It was a great message. He also said, of course, that there was no straight line in most of our careers, and that's happening. It's happened to me, it's going to happen even more in the future, but there can be a weaving of worlds, and I like that. So Before I go any further in that, I'd like you to join with me in thanking Michael for his address. But just continuing on that theme of things not being in a straight line and things changing, some of you will know that a week or so ago we had Prince Andrew here in the university, who was here for the pitch at the Palace. Now, a couple of things happened out of that I thought were really important for me and for the university. Now, I might be showing my age. How many people here have ever heard of a series of television shows called Star Trek? I know there's more parents than the graduates. Bear with me. So I was very fortunate to take over as Chancellor from Dr. Helen Nugent, but Prince Andrew told me that he got to take over as Chancellor of the university, and he described him this way as Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Who has heard of Captain Jean-Luc Picard? A few. Captain Jean-Luc Picard was the captain of Starship Enterprise, and his real name was Patrick Stewart, and he told me that when he went to the final handover of chancellorship, he actually did stand up and say to Patrick Stewart, "Live long and prosper." So that's one of the messages that I'm going to impart to you. The other one, because it came into my mind listening to Michael make his address, was the other big thing in Star Trek, which with the split infinitive that I've always hated, it says to boldly go where no man has gone before. They changed it to no one, but that was the message, to boldly go where no one has gone before. And I think that is also part of the message that Michael's left you with, and I think it's a great line. It was a great line when the original Star Trek came out more years ago than most of us would want to remember, and probably none of you do, but it's a great line now. Because the other thing that happened when Prince Andrew was here was a wonderful experience for me as Chancellor of the university. Not because I got to wander around with him, which was actually very interesting, but because he went around the university, and there were two parts of the university that I know he really enjoyed. One was the obedience school and talking to the students there, and the other was going through the Corrigan walk through through medicine. Now, one thing that happened on his walks through the university and also through the Transformer was that he stopped and talked to students. And when he asked the students why they liked being at Bond, as Chancellor I stood there and I was overwhelmed with the answers, because it was as if they had read from a script that we had written. To hear the students talk about their time at Bond, why it was fabulous, the interaction with faculty, the small class sizes, the care of the faculty, the care of the support staff, and the wonderful interactions between the students, it was so uplifting. And even more so because it was genuine and individual and heartfelt. And I thought to myself, that really is what Bond is about. And I'm hoping and I know that each of you carry that experience with you. But don't leave it here. The wonderful thing about Bond is that you will always be a Bondie. Whenever you go anywhere, you will be a Bondie. You'll meet other people who've come through Bond, and that will forge an instant link. And I hope that you do that to keep in touch with each other and to help other Bondies as they come through, as you succeed more and more in your life, as I hope you will find other ex-Bondies, other alumni out there who will help you and deal with you as you go through. I've seen it happen already. Our alumni are unbelievably supportive. This university is one of the few universities about which our graduates feel a great sense of loyalty, and it's for a really good reason. And we hope that you continue to maintain your link with the university, and we hope that your families do as well, because we know and we understand that there's been a lot of sacrifice out there from a lot of people to get you where you are. We're not a publicly funded university. It's direct pay at this place, not indirect through taxation. And we do really appreciate the effort that everyone's made to send the students here so that you can be here today as graduands. Because, of course, you're not graduates yet. Michael said he's the only thing standing between you. No, that's not right. I am. You don't get to graduate till I say the magic words. So just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Because I'll tell you what, I've sat in the audience as a parent, and I've sat there waiting for my daughter to graduate from here at Bond, and I was terrified until that moment when they actually handed her that testama that was like one of those movies, speak now, forever hold your peace, that someone was going to stand up and say, don't give it to that one. Fortunately, it didn't happen, and she graduated very successfully and very happily. But being Chancellor does require me to undertake some formal tasks, and one of the most enjoyable is actually admitting the graduands to their degrees and to transform them into graduates of the university. Because for each of you, it is a really special moment, and I know that, and I hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoy being part of your celebration. So I look forward to that in a moment, but in the meantime, it's now my very great pleasure to introduce to you the Bond University Orchestra, who are going to play a short musical piece for you. The orchestra is made up of Bond students who share a great love for music, and they volunteer to play at many Bond events throughout the year. So please join with me in welcoming them. Thank you very much, the Bond University Orchestra. We always enjoy hearing you play on these special days, and we appreciate the time and the commitment that you give to enabling us to have the benefit of that performance. Thank you so much. Well, of course, you all know that apart from the students, the wonderful people here are the staff and support staff of the university. And as you will appreciate, we have an amazing and outstanding academic staff who undertake groundbreaking research and disseminate the latest findings to the students. So I know that I speak for all of you when I pass on your gratitude to the staff, to all the staff of the university in helping to get you today. And I now call on the Deputy Chair of the Academic Senate to present the candidates for degrees.
Will all candidates for degrees please stand? Chancellor, I wish to present the following graduates who are in attendance today for admission to awards of Bond University. From the Faculty of Health Sciences and Medicine, 13 graduates. And from the Faculty of Society and Design, 140 graduates. Chancellor, I certify to you and to the university that the graduates have satisfied the requirements for admission to the award for which they are being presented.
With the authority of Council, I hereby admit you to the awards for which you have qualified. I also admit to their awards those candidates listed in the graduation program who are unable to be present today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the moment of graduation. Would you please join with me in congratulating the most recent graduates of Bond University? You can now be seated, and we will now move to the formal presentation of testamers.
Chancellor, the following candidates are presented for the award of Research Doctorate. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, with thesis title, The Provision and Delivery of Exercise-Based Cardiac Rehabilitation in Australia, Concordant with Best Research Evidence, Bridget Rose Abel. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, with thesis title, Hematological and Biochemical Markers of Immune Function and Iron Status in Elite Athletes During Different Training Periods, Elisa Fontanelli Dumans-Canetti. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with thesis title, Exploring How Nurses and People with Bowel Disease Discuss Physical Activity, Alicia Bell Olsen. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, with thesis title MicroRNA Profiling of Multiple Sclerosis from Brain to Blood, Catherine Ann Sanders. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, with thesis title Understanding the Manifestation of Psychopathic Personality Characteristics Across Populations, Nathan Stewart Brooks. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, with thesis title Parents of Children with Autism Spectrum Disorder, Investigation into Best Practice Intervention, Aude Jeanne-Marie Etourneau. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, with thesis title Conservation of Cultural Built Heritage, an Investigation of Stakeholder Perceptions in Australia and Tanzania, Johari Hussain Nassor Amar. Chancellor, I present graduates from the Faculty of Health Sciences and Medicine. The Executive Dean will congratulate each candidate after they have received their degree. Bachelor of Sports Management, Isaac Malikote-Worth. For the Bachelor of Health Sciences with Honours, First Class Honours, Jessica Covino. For the Bachelor of Health Sciences, Biomedical Science with Honours, First Class Honours, Damien Nilsson. For the Master of Nutrition and Dietetic Practice, Gabriela Machado Negrao. Astrid Catherine Naranjo Martinez. For the Master of Sports Management, Robert John Mitchell. For the Master of Sports Science, Jared Eggins. Corey James Wedding. Chancellor, I present graduates from the Faculty of Society and Design. The Acting Executive Dean will congratulate each candidate after they have received their degree. For the Bachelor of Communication, Nicolette Fraser. Alexandra Steele. Kelsey Jenny Todd. For the Bachelor of Communication Business, Stevie Alger. Congratulations. Matilda May Atkins. Leah Bobolas. Wei Jen Guo. Portia Kate Kelly. Megumi Kimura. Sarah Rabana. Isabella Schunenberg. For the Bachelor of Construction Management and Quantity Surveying, Lachlan Andy Evans. Muyao Li. Zifeng Li. Cheng Dong Lin. Matthew Charles Lingard. Chang Liu. Reishi Liu. Elizavieta Nagibina. Daniel Ramsden. Matthew Mark Scales. Reese Smither. Singhai Su. Mitchell Timothy Sedgman Wade. Ling Shu. Dia Yen. Fan Yang. For the Bachelor of Film and Television, Ryan Chen. Thomas Edward Evans. Jacob Hazeldine. For the Bachelor of Interactive Media and Design, Cassandra Francisco. For the Bachelor of International Relations, Aidan Hall. Thomas Lyons. For the Bachelor of International Relations and Bachelor of Laws, Rebecca Smith. For the Bachelor of Property, Yue Hua. For the Bachelor of Property and Sustainable Development, Rhys Daniel Mail. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science, Charles Hannigan. Natalia Ruiz. Eleanor Cornelia Ryder. Daniel Simons. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours with third class honours, Zia Yawari. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours with Second Class Honours Division B, Mirela Berberovic. Dane Rock Kamara. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours with Second Class Honours Division A, Megan Boyle. Stephanie Brady. Micah, yes, I know. Yes. Micah Butler. Catherine Ann Credland Ballantyne. Jed Dibb. Cheryl Lynn Freeman. Philip Joseph Pierce. Ashley Claire Upton. Christina Jamil Youssef. For the Bachelor of Psychological Science Honours with First Class Honours, Brett Carter. Natasha Zita Ryan. Sarah Shah. For the Bachelor of Social Science, Shonal Kumar. Kalia Lee Pike. Chloe Jane Rowley. For the Bachelor of Social Science Criminology, Caitlin Elizabeth Markham Rake. For the Bachelor of Sustainable Environments and Planning, Ali Hamed Mohamed Al-Abadi. For the Graduate Certificate of Valuation and Property Development, Paul Hafke. For the Graduate Diploma of Psychological Science, Brittany Jane Kenda. Kylie Margaret Madigan. Caitlin Marie Mayer. Caitlin Elizabeth Scott. Jonathan Chai. Shelley Walker. For the Master of Advertising, Yi Chao Ren. For the Master of Architecture, Peter Gregory Brown. For the Master of Arts in TESOL, Xue Bai. For the Master of Communication Professional, Adriana Blat-Guglielmet. Heather Ali Zubair Khan. Stephen Francis Pereira. For the Master of Communication Professional with high distinction, Kriti Sharma. For the Master of Construction Practice, Yao Chen. Thomas Joseph Lyons. Xia Lin Song. Bo Weng. Xiao Shuang Zhang. For the Master of Construction Practice with high distinction, Albert Ewan. For the Master of Construction Practice Professional, Dung Ching Fan. Xiaoyang Gong. Puneet Gopal. Huan He. Manlin He. Shuyu Huang Fu. Xiao Shu Ti. Yue Jian. Chi Kit Law. Zong Li. Zhu Xiaoli. Yang Xiu Lin. Hui Tsing Long. Ka Chon Lo. Sidan Mengi. You look great. Yes. You look great. Sheng Chen. Jinal Devang Teka. Guang Heng Tong. Ting Xiao Wang. Lan Wei. Hi. Yunfen Wu. Jing Yuan Yao. Jingzhou Ye. Ni Zheng. Shu Yin Jai. Bot Tao Jiang. Diyang Zhang. Wenchong Zhang. Wani Zheng. Yilin Zhu. For the Master of Criminology, Merwin Elizabeth Ainsworth Baildon. Stephanie Marie Mitza. Jamie Ruth Parker. Florence Eliza Knipping. Yi Sim Lok. For the Master of Criminology Professional with high distinction, Jade Alexandra Wood. For the Master of International Relations, Chelsea Kate Curry. For the Master of Project Management, Milagros Baka Zapatel. Mark Sidney Horton. For the Master of Project Management and Master of Communication, Amar Zahir. For the Master of Project Management and Master of Construction Practice, Part Neeraj Kumar Patel. For the Master of Project Management Professional, Isaac Igenebale Ebare. Ranka Novak Kamoci. Damilola Omolabi. Rahil Abdul Razak Perzadeh. For the Master of Sustainable Environments and Planning, Zora Husar. For the Master of Valuation and Property Development, Richard Michael Dunbar. For the Master of Valuation and Property Development Professional, Zhe Cao. Arti Gopalani. For the Master of Philosophy by Research, James Christopher Fitchett. Paul Keith Zamp. Chancellor, the graduate who has been selected to give the valedictory address on behalf of the graduating cohort this afternoon is also graduating with the degrees of Master of Construction Practice and Master of Project Management. He graduates with a cumulative grade point average of 3.44 out of a possible 4.0. He was placed on the Vice-Chancellor's list for academic excellence 3 times and on the Dean's list twice. For the Master of Construction Practice and Master of Project Management and Valedictorian, Jonathan Peter Winstanley.
Alrighty, almost there. It's good news. Alrighty. Good afternoon, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, members of staff, family, friends, and most importantly, my fellow graduates. I feel very honoured to be giving this valedictory speech this afternoon. It is a difficult task to speak on behalf of such an accomplished group and at the same time trying to encapsulate everyone's feelings. I would like to take this moment to congratulate all the graduates for being in the position you are today after all your hard work, sacrifices, and overcoming many challenges. At some point in time, we all decided to study at Bond. I came to Bond not knowing what to expect, and what I found was an environment that was both warm and welcoming. From day one, I made strong friendships, which not only branched out my social and support networks, but also assisted me greatly in completing my degree and achieving academic success. My time at Bond reinforced to me the importance of teamwork and the happiness one can get from helping others. It is also important to surround yourself with people who can elevate your thinking, give you constructive feedback, and at the same time keep you grounded. I must thank my wonderful wife, Olivia, for doing all of those things, and for all your love and support during my Bond adventure. We'll all miss different things about Bond. It may be the melting pot of different cultures, the social scene, the campus grounds and facilities, the high-quality learning environment, or possibly the whole Bond experience. This afternoon, as new graduates, we will leave Bond to follow our respective paths into the future. The only thing we can guarantee about the future is that it is uncertain. A good example is right now, as I never expected to be standing in front of you all when I started at Bond, but here I am. How we reflect on and judge our future lives will be a matter of perspective and life experiences. For the graduates, we are in the fortunate position to add the Bond experience to our list. Without exposing ourselves to diverse experiences and learning from them, we will always end up with a narrow view of life and small solutions to large problems. An important task for us as new graduates going forward is to continue broadening our life experiences so that we can connect as many dots as possible when solving problems. Throughout our studies, we have been challenged by experienced academic staff who have often pushed us outside of our comfort zones so that we can be the best that we can be, and in the process, elevating our potential. To all the academic staff, we are truly thankful for your dedication in bringing us the knowledge we now possess and the opportunity to best apply it in our future careers. To all the support, administrative, maintenance and management staff across all areas of Bond, we thank you for all your efforts in keeping the wheels of learning turning. We are deeply grateful to our support networks of classmates, mentors, family and friends who have helped us along our journey and made significant sacrifices so that we could be in the position we are today. The graduation certificates we received this afternoon represents the closure of an important chapter in our lives and the opening of new ones. I wish all the graduates the very best of success in what lies ahead for you. In closing, we are here today to celebrate the academic achievements of all the graduating students. Can I please ask everyone to now join me in giving the most recent graduates from the Faculty of Health Sciences and Medicine and the Faculty of Society and Design an exciting round of applause to their bright futures. Thank you.
So, Jonathan, thank you very much for that fine address. It's not so easy for a student, particularly one full of emotion on a day like this, to stand up in front of 1,000 people and speak on behalf of the graduating class. And if I may, Jonathan, just embarrass you a little bit. You heard a little bit about his academic record, and if I can expand on that a little. As you heard, Jonathan has completed 2 master's degrees here at the university. As you heard, he's been placed on the Vice-Chancellor's list for academic excellence in 3 semesters. His average subject score, so his average score across each subject he has both attempted and completed, has been just shy of 85%. He achieved either a high distinction or a distinction in every single subject except one. And we had a bit of a joke during the week about what happened in soil mechanics, where he got a mere credit. Across all semesters, his lowest semester average was 81%. So an absolutely outstanding academic achievement. Jonathan. I had the pleasure of meeting your wife and your family earlier today, and they're seated here in the front row, and I'm sure they're very proud of you, as indeed we are. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please thank Jonathan again? So we're almost to the close of the formalities. There is just a final bit of formality before we let the graduates loose. And that is, we have this tradition here which is called the charge, where the Vice-Chancellor, me, reads the charge to the graduating class and asks whether or not you accept it. It's sort of like taking university vows in that regard. So before I read the charge, I ask all of the graduating class if they would please be upstanding. I charge you, of graduates of Bond University, to demonstrate at all times the highest moral and ethical standards, to apply your learnings and education to the benefit of society, to pursue the highest standards in all your endeavours, with excellence always your aim, and to forever support and enhance the reputation of your university through engagement as a proud alumni. Graduates, do you accept that charge? Yes. Well done. You've been watching, haven't you? You may be seated. Can I add to our valedictorian's address and remind all of our graduates that there are many that have helped you along your journey. You will all have individual stories. You will all have your own way in which you'll want to thank your support network, be it your spouses, your parents, your grandparents, your wider family, friends, neighbours, and even in some cases just anonymous donors who you've never met who have supported you financially through scholarship. Many of those people are here today with you, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy each other's company in a moment. But there are also many who are not here today, and for our students who have chosen this university over all others and have travelled internationally to study here, please reach out to those who are not present here today. And I can tell you that the best way to do that is to actually speak to them. Don't text them. Don't leave a message on Facebook for them. They would really appreciate to hear the sound of your voice. So find time to give them a call. Let them know that you're thinking of them, because they will surely be thinking of you today. So this is your day, be proud, but I trust that you do take a moment to reflect on what has been your own personal journey. I've been very fortunate to get to know some of you personally, and it's always a magnificent occasion, graduation, to see how you've developed and how you've grown. But remember that forever now you're part of this institution. We're not going to take your degree away from you, and we don't want you to forget your years here at this university. So your careers are going to be full of highs, I trust, but there will occasionally be a few lows. And during those lows, these people here around you will be there to support you, but this university will be there for you as well. The friends you've made, the networks, the connections, the academic staff, the support staff. Reach out to us, because we will always be here for you. But remember that just as your reputation has now been enhanced through the holding of a formal qualification from this institution, that this institution's reputation will be enhanced by your own actions. So despite the magnificence of our facilities, and when you walk outside and you see our grounds and our buildings and you go, wow, that is just absolutely magnificent out there, the reality is that this university only exists because of people, and those people are our students. So your actions, your decisions, your moral compass, your ethics will reflect not only on you, but they'll reflect upon this institution. So I trust when you are challenged at times yet to come, that you reflect upon your time here and you make the right decision. Because we will be there for you, just as we hope that you will be there for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you're about to go out and celebrate, and we do talk here about the great drivers of economic prosperity on the Gold Coast, which of course is events like the Magic Millions and the V8 supercars and Bond graduation days. So if you haven't already booked a restaurant for tonight, it's too late. But to help you on your way, downstairs, the Don's Tavern will be open, and you can have one on us, so to speak. You've certainly earned it, and well deserved. So ladies and gentlemen, just before we depart, you've been an outstanding audience. You've been very patient. But I think there's an opportunity to make a bit of noise one last time for the latest graduates from Bond University. Go, guys.